Okay, we are now on page 10. So you need your base page, and this is the one I'm using. It's got the script, and then on the back it looks like that. And you'll need your pocket cardstock cut out. I think it's 4 3/8 by 9. And then you need to cut your pattern paper to fit, which is the same. It's just the reverse side of this one that I'm going to do like that. So I'm going to put my pocket on. It's going to be a bottom pocket, so it's going to go on the bottom page. So I'm going to do that, and I'll show you what mine looks like. Okay, so I've got my pocket on the bottom, and I have my score tape around. What is really good is use the 1/4 inch for the bottom of your pockets because it's narrow, and use the 3/8 to go around the back because it's wider and you get more coverage that way. So all I need to do now is mount it in my book, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, here it is in the book. So we've got these 2 pages done. So now we're just going to go over and we'll get started on page 11. Okay, for page 11 we're going to have 2 fold outs or flip outs. This is going to be the base page. I'm using this piece right here. It looks like this on the back. That's going to be my base page. We're going to have a flip out on the right side. So we'll have a flip out on the right side here. And we'll have a flip up on the top that's going to go like that. So you just need to cut your pieces. Let me see, I can tell you for the top flip, I believe, let me see, for the top one. Let me just make sure I give you the right one. Yeah, it's 7 5/8 by 7 1/8 across. And then you're going to score at, it looks like you're going to score at 1/4 and 1/2 for the top. And for the side flip out, it measures 5 1/8 by 7 7/8, and then you'll score it at 1/2 inch. So that's what we're going to do here. So we're going to do that, and you'll attach the side pocket first. Oops, sorry, you'll attach the side one first. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and then you just get your pattern paper to fit, and I'll put mine together, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, this is what I've done. What you're going to want to do is, before you glue any paper to the top of the flip, you need to place a little magnet in there and then put your pattern paper on there because that's going to hold this down. And then we'll just flip it over and put the mate on the back of the page, so it'll hold everything down. And then it's going to flip like this, and then it'll flip out like that. So that's what we'll have here, and then it'll just close with the magnet. So like I already have my score tape on, so I'm going to go ahead and just mount this in my book, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so this is what we have, and it's going to just flip up, and it's going to go out like that. Okay, so let's go to page 12. Page 12 is going to have a left side pocket, and this is what my base page looks like. It's got this design here, and it looks like that on the back. So what I'm going to do is take my cardstock, and my cardstock is cut at 9 by 3 1/8. Well, that depends on the punch you use. I used a 1 1/2 inch Martha Stewart punch for this, and that's just going to go on the side here like that. And then I'm going to cut this piece. This is the piece I'm going to use to cut to fit. And that's going to be my little, it's just a little side pocket, it's not a really big one. So I'm going to go ahead and put that together, and I'll show you what it looks like. I decided to go with the solid color instead of the polka dot on mine, but you can use whichever one you wanted. So this is all set. I have my score tape on. All I need to do now is just mount this in my book. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so this is what it looks like in the book. I originally was going to have this a solid straight cut, but I decided at the last minute to go ahead and put a decorative edge on it because I think it just looks better than just plain straight across. But these 2 pages are finished, so we're on page 13. Page 13 is a very simple page. You just need a base page, and the one I used is this one. It has that on the back. And then I cut out 2 of the little corners from this die here, in case you don't remember which one I used. I was using this one right here, and I'm using this die right here, the corner die. So I'm going to do that. And I cut out 2 on just some cardstock, and I left a 1/2 inch border around so I can wrap it around the paper. And on this one, I'm going to put it on the upper right and the lower left on this one. I think we did it once before where we did it like this. Well, now I'm just going to do this one like that. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll show you what. And this is how it looks. Now you got to be aware that this pink paper does have script on it. So make sure you don't have your script upside down, which I did on one of my other pages. It was like, I didn't realize it until it was already in the book that it is upside down. It's not that noticeable, but I know it's there. Well, anyway, this is how this is going to turn out. And what you're going to do is just leave it a little tuck spot, so you can put a large picture in here and just tuck it up under these little corners. And so all I need to do now is just put my score tape on the back and then just mount this in my book. So let me go do that. Okay, so we've got this in our book. Now we're on to our last page, page number 14. And that's going to be also a kind of like a simple page too. This is going to be the base page. This is the paper that I use for my base page. And it has this on the back. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make like a side pocket like this, a large one. Just a large vertical cut pocket. And I did use a 1/2 inch Martha Stewart punch to decorate that, and that's just going to go down like here. And then on my flaps, I am not going to be sticking them in the back. I'm actually going to be putting them on the page itself to give this pocket some room to add more things into it. Because normally I wrap around, but for this one I'm going to leave it on the page, the flaps on the page, to give it some room for putting more things in. And then this is the one that I cut to fit. It's going to go on like this. So this is what I'm going to have here on this page. So let me go ahead and put all this together, and I'll show you how it turned out. And this is how this page turned out. So now we have all our pages in our book. So this is what we have. See, this is one we need to add a magnet to. Okay, so now all I need to do is clear off my table a little bit here and get all my embellishments out. Now we can start decorating. I'll be right back. Okay, well, I've got all my embellishments out, and I actually started working on the spine already. And this is what I did on my spine so far. I normally will use these Baroque frames on my spine, but this spine is too narrow for that, so I couldn't use this because this was just too wide. So let me show you what I did here. So what I did is I took one of these, and when you get these, you'll notice that you get on the back there is a little thing for you to cut out, so that you can cut out your piece that actually fits inside the frame. But the problem with that is you can't really see where you're putting this on your paper. So what I did is I actually took from the plastic, I cut out one of these clear ones so that when I put it on my paper, I can actually, this is the one I was normally going to first going to use, but I changed my mind. You can actually see where you want to cut. And so what I do, I just find the image that I like. I trace around it and cut it out using this plastic. And then I take this one and put that on my cutout, and this way I can actually trim it exactly the size that will fit in the frame, and then I use that. And then it fits right in there. And that's what I did here. And I actually left the protective paper is still on here. I'll leave that on until whoever gets that can remove that. I'll just leave that on so that doesn't get damaged. Well, anyway, this was the image that I did. I took a metal filigree and then I gessoed it and then I painted it white. I was originally going to paint the frame white, but then I thought that was just too much white. I like it with the silver, and so that's what I've done for the spine so far. And I'm probably going to add some little flowers around here too. But this is what I've done here on the spine so far. So now all I need to do is figure out what I'm going to do here. I do not have a frame for this. I kind of like to use a frame, but I don't have one this time. So what I actually am going to use is I have this tag that I made. And I am actually going to use this for my focal point on the front of my album. So I'm actually going to be putting this tag on and putting flowers around it. And this tag has a lot of fussy cutting on that. You probably can't pick it up on the camera, but all these little flowers in the bucket and everything has been cut out of the cutout sheet and placed on here. So it's really dimensional, and actually a lot of work putting that little tag together. And that's going to be the focal point here. And I was also thinking of putting some lace down the side. I have this lace trim here. Putting some lace down the side like that. And then some of the bling on a roll on top of it like that. That's what my plan is so far. That's as far as I've gotten so far. And I'm just not sure what I'm going to put in the center of each one of these little flowers. I might go ahead and put some more of this Nouveau Drop seashell color in the centers of those. And so let me get this down and get the lace down and the bling down, and then I'll show you what I have. Also, I'm going to be putting the lace and the bling on the back cover too. Okay, this is what I've done for the cover. I put the lace on and the bling, but on the back, I think I'm going to leave the back alone for now because I really don't want to cover up the flowers. In hindsight, what I should have done is put my paper the other way and had the flowers coming down this corner here and left this open, and then I could have placed my trim here. But as it is now, I really don't want to cover up my flowers, so I'm going to leave it for now and wait till I'm finished embellishing, and then I'll see what I decide to do for the back. Okay, this is what I've been working on so far. The tag is glued on, but the flowers down here aren't. I just kind of have them arranged how I kind of want them to be. So now I just need to take them off and put them back on with some glue. So let me do that, and then I'll show you what, and then we'll go on to the next part. This is what I have so far on the front. I went ahead and just, added some, glue the flowers down there. And I decided to go ahead and put flat back pearls in the center of the flowers on the lace trim here. And I also added 2 little resin corners. And that's all I'm going to do for the front at this time. And I don't know if I'm going to need to put a latch on it or closure yet, because right now this is staying pretty flat, so it really doesn't need a closure. But as I start working on the inside, we'll see how that goes, because I can always add that at the end. So right now this is what I have for the front. So now all we're going to start going on this side here, start working on page 1 and page 2. So let me just organize it a little bit over here as far as what I'm going to do on these pages, and then I'll get right. Okay, so what I'm going to do on this first page here, and excuse the shadow, is I cut a little piece from the trims here, the little birds with the sunflowers, I just cut 2 out with the sunflowers in the center. And I'm going to actually glue that to the bottom of this page on only 3 sides. And I'm going to leave the top open so it could be like a little tuck spot. And then I'm going to place the little blue flowers like this here. And I'm going to take the bling on a roll, and I'm going to go through and wrap it through that on that. So that's what I'm going to do on this page. And the second page, I'm just going to take the bling on a roll, and I'm just going to put it across here on this page. And that's all I'm going to do on this page here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll show you what it looks like. These 2 pages are finished so far. I might come back later toward, at the end, and come back and maybe even add a few more things here and out throughout the album. But this is what I've done so far. I put the bling through, and we've got the flowers and the little tuck spot there, and then the bling that I put on this page here. And it's just a little tuck spot. It's just going to be, it's just going to be for like a little tag or something to go in there. But so this is what we have so far. Okay, so now we need to work on this page here, and this is the page that I need to come up with some way to get a magnet in there to hold this this closure. In the beginning, I said you had an option to put magnets in here to hold this down. That's probably what I should have done instead of doing it this way, because this way didn't even work at all. So, and I can't take it off because everything's underneath the paper. So I'm going to work around that and see what I can come up with. This page I'm actually going to do nothing on because this page is so dimensional, and this, I just need to make sure this page is going to close. It's already pretty tight as it is. So I'm going to go ahead and just leave this page right here alone. Okay, well this is what I came up with for this latch on this one. So the magnet does hold it some, but it's still, it's a little better than what it was before. It wouldn't even do that. But, so it does open like this. And what I did is I cut out one of the sentiments and then some flowers from the cutouts. So that's what I did there. So I have these, from this page here, I got the sentiment, Counting Memories. I just cut that out. And from the cut-aparts, I just cut out 2 sunflowers and put those there. So that's what we have on that page. So this is, so that turned out pretty good. That turned out pretty good. At least I got it to close a little bit better. So, and like I said, we're going to leave that page alone. Not unless I decide to come back later and cut out some flowers, because I have to keep this really, really flat. And yeah, because I tried before to put some little dimensional flowers in there, and that didn't work. In this part it didn't work, but I'm sure I can get some on the other pages. So now we're going to go over to this page here. What page is this that we're on? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So now we're going to work on 5 and 6. And this is the one that I'm going to be adding magnets to the bottom. See, I already have the magnets on there, so I'd know, which I think is going to be easy for me to do, because what I'm thinking of using are these little border strips. These are really pretty, or I should say they're really cute. So I might cut some, whoops, so I might cut some of these and put those down there to cover up my magnets. So I'm going to play with that for a little bit, and then I'll show you how mine turn out. And I might put some bling around here also on these. And I also have this really fine, what did I do with it? Braided trim. It's real narrow, real teeny tiny narrow. I might put that through there on some of these instead of the bling on the roll, but I'm still thinking about that. So let me play around, see what I come up with, and I'll show you what I come up with.